In this video, let's take a look at the transfer grid effect. Now, the transfer effect is an effect that wave shapes your audio signal coming into it. And as I mentioned, you use it as a grid effect. Now, I want to process this instrument over here, which is a polymer instrument with a delay effect on it, and it sounds like this. Now, to add the transfer effect, I first need to add an effects grid. So down here in my signal chain, I can click the plus sign, type grid, and add the effects grid. So now I've got this grid effects over here. I can click on this to open up my modular view, and over here I can add the transfer effect. I can easily search for it to find out where it is within all these modules. I'm going to pull this down here, and what I need to do is chain this together. So this is my audio input. I can chain this into the audio input on the transfer device, and then I can chain it out to the audio output. And if I click over here, here's the wave shape that's going to shape the wave of the audio signal that's coming in. Now, it can get quite loud, so I'm going to pull down this drive knob, I'm going to play back and slowly start increasing it. So you can hear it's driving a bit there. Now, it does drive quite a bit, so what I recommend is afterwards on your signal chain is to add a limiter just to control those peaks so that you don't get any clipping that's happening. So I'm going to go over here and just pull this ceiling down quite a bit so that I can drive this up and get some wave shaping happening to my audio. And then obviously I can go into this wave shape here and change some of these waves. Let's start off by first resetting it. So I've just got this simple line over here, and then I can drag different shapes here. And I can change the grid resolution and use my wave shaping tools. You can really hear that with the wave shaping that's happening. And then I can obviously mix this in with my audio signal. So what's quite nice is you can drive this quite a bit and then mix this in as a form of sort of parallel processing to add some wave shaping to audio. So that's very nice. Just adding some extra saturation if you want using the wave shaping. And you could even click the curve shapes and go for some of the shapes that you've got here. Really nice way of saturating your instruments using some wave shaping. Now that's using it as an audio effect, but you can really use it in any form of grid. So over here, I've got a polygrid instrument. I can click this to open it. Here is the instrument that's playing back. And in the signal chain, I can add the transfer device. So over here, I'm going to look for my transfer. I can add this transfer device into the chain. So I'm going to click over here. I'm going to drag this into this to chain it together and chain it there. So now what we've got is the oscillator into the transfer, into the envelope, and then to the output. And even better, you could use a curve to modulate this transfer. So I'm going to go here, go for my curves, pull this down here, click on the modulation, modulate to this, pull it down, and now we've got a curve shape modulating the wave shaping happening with the transfer. Go in and change the wave shape. And change the amount of modulation. And another thing that you can do, if you click on your transfer device, this has some anti-aliasing. So if you click this, it just smooths out that jumping of the audio sample rate when it's stepping through the audio. There's also the option to make it bipolar. So without bipolar, and then with bipolar. And basically what bipolar is doing, this is scaling the module's output from -1 to 1. But when you're in unipolar mode, basically you can use the clipping or the reflect to handle the output. With the clipping mode, it simply outputs the value set at 0, where with the reflect mode, this mirrors the curve. So the nice thing is you're seeing the shape of the wave here. And then obviously you go to clipping, you can see the output from the input to the output from the wave shaping. So that's a rundown of the transfer device and how you can use it as an audio effect and how you can use it within the polygrid as an instrument and use that in the chain and even use some other devices to modulate that.